Good morning, UBS community. We're back. We've had a couple of weeks off. I had a time clash last week with the guest I was going to have, and it was my fault that I double booked myself. And so we skipped a week, and we'll probably be skipping a few more coming up as I'm taking a month off. But that's all good because the value will keep coming. And today is no different because we have a super, super, super special guest in Ronsley Vaz, who has come to us from Queensland. We were going to run into each other a couple of weeks ago when I was up there, but things unfolded and didn't make it happen. For those of you that are brand new on the call, we have a Facebook group called Ultimate Business Support. This is what you're seeing on your screen right now. That's like a little cover photo. And we're nearing 12,000 members. Gosh, it's taken us a little while between 11,000 and 12,000. But you go through these peaks and troughs where when you're growing a group, and sometimes it goes really super fast and others slow. We have different theme days. We've been running this group over 3 years. So consistency has been key around keeping it engaging, clean, valuable. And the coffee chat started about I would say 8 or 9 months ago. I was doing them all by myself, thinking up new content every single week. And now for the last 2 months, we've been bringing on special guests, which are our members, who are very successful and have different niches or different problems that they solve through their businesses, which is where I can sit back, interview them, and they can bring us the value, which means we learn. So get a pen and paper. I've got it right in front of me. I always take notes as I'm interviewing because I also like to take action as well. So that's the most important thing. Don't waste your time sitting on a call. Doesn't matter how long it is, or going to events if you're not going to follow through and actually take action on what is being said. So listen closely. So let me introduce you to this morning's wonderful guest, Ronsley Vaz. Here he is. I will show on Facebook as well. By the way, we're broadcasting live on Facebook for those of you that are on GoToWebinar. And Ronsley today will talk to us about how to create a system that makes you sales doing what you love. So the official introduction is that Ronsley is an entrepreneur specializing in creating businesses that connect people and ideas in new and innovative ways. He is the host of Australia's #1 food and entrepreneurship podcast, Bon Appetit, that has over 2.1 million listeners. He is also the creator of We Are Podcast, the first podcasting conference in the Southern Hemisphere, and the creator of the new show, Should I Start a Podcast? We Are Podcast is also Australia's first audio marketing agency. Ronsley has a master's degree in software engineering and an MBA in psychology and leadership. He's a business mentor, a personal chef, and a serial idea creator. Good morning, Ronsley. How are you?
I'm really good, Natasha. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
The audio is a bit choppy, so if I don't respond, it's probably because I haven't heard you yet.
No, all good. There might be a slight delay, but that's okay. I think once we get started, it should be good. So thank you so much once again. And by the way, if
Well,
anyone
can't hear you.
you
Can
can't
you
hear
hear
me,
me?
I'm not coming through good. Am I back now? Any good? Yeah, I'm having trouble with hearing you. Someone else is saying. All right, guys. Well, what I might do, let me see if I can switch my Facebook Live on to a different internet. Hang on. Let's go on a different internet and see if that's going to help. Is this any better, Ronsley?
I can hear you now, Natasha.
I've just, I'm thinking if my bandwidth is no good because of the Facebook Live, so I've just switched it off the home internet, put it on the the 3G or the Telstra one. So is that better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, cool. So it must be that the too much bandwidth being used up. Okay, so let's get into it because we only have about 20 minutes with you, and I really want to get through some questions that I have for you where we can add value to this community. So tell me, what
Sure.
are the 3 most important variables that are imperative to a great system?
Well, I think when we think about systems, we think about all the technology that sort of comes with a system. But when you actually break it down, there are three of the most important things that we do not pay attention to. Like as an example, in your introduction, you mentioned podcasts so many times. So when people ask me a question, they're like, "Oh, you do podcasting? What mic should I buy?" Or what kind of recorder should I buy? And it's all about the technical stuff. But I think the three most important things that every entrepreneur or every brand builder or every artist needs to think about are themselves, what makes them different, why they're so unique, because everyone is unique, and just embracing that is I think the key to starting all this stuff. I think the second thing is the people that they're going to serve. And the third is the peers that they get involved in. So networking and the people around you makes such a huge impact. Everything else from that point is just so much easier when you figure these three ingredients out. And when people start talking about systems, somehow we miss these three important factors. What do you think, Natasha?
Oh, absolutely. I think everything stems from those things because I mean, I guess the boring systems that, as we like to sometimes think about, can be created in the background. We can hire other people to do it for us, but really ourselves, I think, yeah, people buy people at the end of the day. So the three key ones that you've listed there, I'm a big fan of as well.
Yeah, because what tends to happen, is like you're sitting in. If you don't figure those things out, you kind of this is how things tend to go. You sit in front of the computer, you look at a blank screen, you're not even sure what you're doing, and then you check Facebook. And then when you check Facebook, you're there for like maybe an hour and a half. If you're like me, sometimes longer. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should write some blogs, and then you say, okay, let me create some content, and then you look back at your website, and it's all irregular, and there's no consistency. And the fact that you're doing these chats, Natasha, I mean, you're so consistent. I really don't know how you make the time with the family, with the business, with everything that you do. It's crazy. And I know you've recently written a blog post about how you make this all happen. And if anyone listening right now should actually go and check out that Facebook. It's a Facebook post and a blog post, I think, if I'm correct. But I love the way you balance your stuff.
Oh yeah, I've done. I don't know if you know, but I've done 30 blogs now in 30 days. So I've have a self-imposed challenge to blog every day, and I think it's insane. But it actually creates a bit of space for me to just focus and think, and it's actually been a bit therapeutic rather than just doing it for others. I'm kind of doing it for myself and others.
Yeah, because you have this way of getting stuff out of your head, and the problem is that we spend so much time in our head.
Mm.
The noise between the ears is always the loudest. As
Yes.
much as we think that everyone else has all these things to say about us and all these circumstances that aren't working in our favor, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much the noise between the ears. And if you can find something to quieten that noise, I think you're off to a winner.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Awesome. So let's go into why do we hate, like, because we're here to talk about sales, and I know it's a hot topic all of the time, and I'm always looking for different insights around the topic, reading books on planes, like how all I read is sales stuff, right? So why do we all hate sales and sales conversations? I don't hate them myself, but I always look to refine it and I guess I look for ways to explaining it to others because others do hate. There's just this majority of people that I'm surrounded by are just so uh, I guess averse to sales.
Yeah, sure. I mean, one of the first things that happens in a quote unquote sales conversation is that we feel a lopsided effect. We feel like we that the customer has to give us money,
Mm.
but we feel that we're not giving as much in return. It's not necessarily
True.
It's not necessarily something that we think about, but it's something that we feel within our gut. So the idea of sales has been tainted by the likes of the car salesman and the insurance salesman and the encyclopedia saleswoman coming to the door and all that kind of stuff. So and traditionally we've been sold quote unquote things that we don't necessarily need. Now the reason for all this issues around sales is that we don't necessarily find the people that want our stuff in the first place. Like going back to the three things that we spoke about, when you think about yourself and you figure out why you're so unique, and how you can serve the world, and you find the people that want it, and you hang around with the people that encourage you, then when you're having these sales quote unquote conversations, you're talking to the right people and you're solving a meaningful problem for them rather than just giving them something that I suppose at the back, yeah, at the back of your mind you might think that they don't necessarily need. So rather than having a sales conversation, have an inquiry conversation where you actually inquire. And when someone starts asking you questions like, if you start off a question, or if you start off a conversation when someone asks you, but how much do you charge? Well, you kind of have to kind of put that in perspective for a second, because that person and neither do you know whether you can solve their problem and whether you have the solution for them at all.
Mm.
You don't even know if they have a problem. So talking about price at that point is just such a annoying, irritating, and
I
common thing that happens.
Oh my God, can I share something with you that happens to me all the time? And
Please.
tell me if I'm doing it right. How? Because obviously I take people away on retreats, and often I'll
Yeah.
have either Facebook page inquiries or website inquiries, probably 2 or 3 times a week, saying how much does your retreat cost? Like that's
Yeah.
it. And what I tend to go back to is saying, first of all, I don't know if my retreat is a match for you. I want to have a 10-minute conversation to see if it is, because there's certain types of books that we'll do and certain types that we won't do, and won't work with everyone. So we actually qualify people into what we do. Do you have some time to have this conversation rather than, there's no point in, everyone just judges something on a price, yet, as you say, you're not sure if they're a match for you or you're a match for them.
Absolutely. I mean, talking about retreats, Natasha, you wouldn't want to be stuck with someone that's a total jackass at your retreat.
No.
So it's more important for you to vet them through the system than sell them something just for the money. And your retreats are so different. I bet are so different from anyone else that are doing similar retreats, or even if there are similar retreats, right? So they don't even want to find out what they're getting,
Mm.
and they're asking about price. So it's like it's like figuring out whether you want to get a Macca's cheap burger or a Burger King or whatever it's called, Hungry Jack's cheap burger, and it's all based on price. And if the customers are dealing with price and that's their only factor, then chances are they're not the right people for you, because you can always do a one-to-many service for people like that who are price conscious, because there will be price conscious people.
Oh, of course, yeah, and yeah, I agree. So you reckon that kind of response is a good response? And usually, yeah, I'll get half of them then wanting to have that conversation, and then they go into it so much more depth, realizing, oh, it was actually good, and then they're grateful for having that conversation.
Yeah, I go one step. That's what I used to do, and I go one step further these days, and I say, how about you listen to my podcast? Because you get a chance to listen to me. And if you don't like me after listening to me for half an hour or 40 minutes, then dude, you're not gonna you're not gonna want to work with me. So listen to my podcast. If you still feel you want to have a chat, and if this is something that you're interested in, then we'll organize a time through my assistant or something on those lines. But I still don't necessarily go straight into a sales conversation or a 10-minute conversation anymore, because um, I don't know, time has become, I really don't know how you do it, Natasha. I'm so in awe of how you manage your time. But I'm very, very jealous.
No, no. But yeah, you're right. Actually, what I do, now you reminded me, I will have that, say, 10-minute conversation. And some of the time it doesn't eventuate. So it's just obviously phases them out that they're not really the right
Yeah.
person. But I do send them like my footage of my event for them to watch and I would never anyway recommend them straight into the retreat. I'd say, look, you need to get to know me a bit more. If I'm not coming to their city, of course, then I'll send them a half day footage and say, watch this. This is really a prerequisite to, wanting to come to. I want you to get to know me a bit more. And I actually had this conversation last week with a lady who's coming tomorrow to our Melbourne half day. We do a couple of them at our home, and it was wonderful. By the end of it, we actually both realized that she was Macedonian and I was, and we had all this rapport and a connection, and then we're going to meet each other, and who knows, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that's the key to your success, Natasha, and a lot of other people. I mean, one of our common friends, Francesca, as well, is the constantly producing stuff, constantly going and doing things that you can take away and create this collateral that becomes your content. And whether you do it via video or whether you do it via blogs or whether you do it via audio, it doesn't matter as long as you have this content that you can create a platform for you and the people that land up buying from you.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's move into what are the elements of a selling system. So tell us what creates a great selling system.
So I think that if anyone is thinking about putting money towards marketing and advertising, and they're not doing it in content marketing, it's right now today, it is a waste of money. So if you are thinking you've got a business and you're right now listening to this and you're thinking, oh, let me spend $5,000 on a bus ad, you're wasting your money. Let me spend to $3,000 on a half-page magazine ad. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your money on billboards. You're wasting your money on a radio ad. You're wasting your money on a television ad. So even though that costs $25,000 to $50,000, I think today people really care about whether they trust you or not. And the only way for them to trust you is so that they consume your content. So I think that there are 4 steps that you should follow. Obviously, number 1 is finding out what you're good at and how you best consume content. So you're not going to be necessarily really good at producing certain types of content that you don't consume because you don't know the intricacies of it. So how do you consume content? And chances are that your people who get to know you will consume content similarly. Number 2, research enough about that platform and where it is going in terms of growth and reach. Now, when you think about it, a blog post, you got to stop what you're doing to consume it. So a video as well. I'm very biased towards audio, so because it's worked wonders for me and my business. And with audio, it's the fastest growing medium. It's and you can consume it while you're doing other things. So but that still is not as important as going back to step number 1. You might be great at video or you might be great at writing. So don't just go down the audio path because that's the thing to do. Number 3, find out if your potential customers could be consuming content on that platform. Now, if you are going after busy people, really, really busy people, and you think that you're going to write them a blog every so often, chances are that they don't have the time to consume that content. I don't know whether they do. If they do, great. But find out. Do enough research and find out whether those people are consuming that content there. And finally, create a system and a schedule that allows you to continuously communicate on that platform. Now, I'm very biased to a platform because it does so many different things. So right now, as an example, Natasha, you and me have this connection because you have this platform that we are chatting on.
Yeah.
And at the end of half an hour, you get to know me and I get to know you better than, you know, any other way that we've known each other so far.
Yes.
So this platform allows us to get to know people who are doing other things that are amazing.
Yeah.
And there is so much value in that. So I think that those are the four steps that someone should go about before they even think about having a sales conversation, because it gives you so much of collateral and so much of advantage before you actually get down to saying, hey, buy from me.
I so agree. 100%. I think we're into the content marketing type of world now, with what we do. So number one was what you're good at. How do you consume content? Number two was research about that platform. What was three? I've been writing notes on my. I know
The
four.
number three is
Yeah.
Sorry, number three is finding out if your potential customers could be consuming content on that platform. Now, if that doesn't happen, then that you might be really good at that platform, but your customers are not there. So
Yeah.
find out if they're there.
Okay, yeah, cool. And where are your customers consuming content? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, I love it. Now I've got, so thank you so much. And there's lots of people intently listening, both. And Trish from up there where you are, she said, can so relate, Ronsley, to an earlier comment I think you had. I have got three questions for you that I always ask my guests. And just to see if there's it's kind of my little research to see if there's a commonality amongst all us human beings as to how we deal with these kind of things. So you ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
And thank you so much. The content that was amazing insights around what you just said. So number one, my number one question to everyone is how do, you say to me, you don't know how I do it with three kids and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I blog about it a lot of the time. But how do you find balance in your life?
I always make time for myself in the morning. I have what I call a launch sequence.
Yeah.
It happens every morning. It happens religiously. Religiously is is a tainted word because it's some days it doesn't happen, but on most days it happens.
Mhm.
Where I have a sequence of things that I do in the morning for myself, so I get ready for the day. It builds space around me, my mind, my body, and hopefully it allows me to get better through the day.
Cool. I love it. Morning launch sequence. And I like the sexy name there you've used. So, very cool. Very cool. All right. Question number two is well, we know that every single person in life, doesn't matter how much success they achieve, they often can go through moments where we get mental funk, where we feel like we've sort of lost ourselves and we either feel like, oh my God, I'm not motivated about this, or I can't do this anymore, or things are just not coming through, or whatever it is that as you would have expected. So, how do you deal with mental funk when it arises?
Oh, mental funk. Yes, it happens, and everyone that's listening right now know that it happens to the best of us. It happens to every single person that has picked this kind of lifestyle,
Mm,
which is a great lifestyle. An entrepreneur's life is great, but
mm,
it's not comfortable.
no.
And and there are days I have at least two a year
Yeah.
where my wife will find me fetal position on the floor. So these kind of things happen.
Mm,
And the key, I believe, is your peers that are around you, your support system. That quote about being the average of the five people you hang around with
mhm.
is so important. And be very, very careful, because if the people that you're hanging around with on a regular basis and you're taking advice from are not making money, don't have a following, are kind of going around in a loop, chances are you're kind of doing the same thing. And I'm no offense to any people that are going through that. I think that you can get out of it by just hanging around with the right people, because
Yeah.
automatically your standards change.
I agree. I totally agree. So yeah, that old saying, make sure you surround yourself with those that, will push you forward and, they've got the type of thinking that you want to, be around. That's so, so important. I love it. Yep, that's good. And I get the same thing happen. And sometimes mine can last for a week or 2 weeks, where I was like, oh, all I want to do is I want to get my tasks done and go back to bed kind of thing. So, but actually, as I've been going through, I must say, the earlier years it was happening way more frequently. Last year only happened once. This year it was like a few hours, I think an overnight kind of thing. It happened once. But I think it's the more we work on our mindset as well, the more we're able to, I guess, if you like, talk ourselves out of it.
Yes, absolutely. And the more you try to push yourself, I mean, as entrepreneurs, we keep trying to push ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough credit for where we've come as well. This the good and the bad, I suppose. So we're always pushing ourselves, and with discomfort comes, the the noise between the ears.
Yeah, I love it. All right, last couple of things. There was someone who's put a question on Facebook Live. What specific activities in the morning that you do in the morning launch sequence? Could you share one or two?
Sure. So I definitely meditate. Definitely, if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. I, ideally, I'd love it 20 minutes, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Go for a walk, go for a run, do some jumping jacks, something for your body. I listen to something through that session, whether it's a new book or something on those lines, and I definitely journal. And one of those things that I make sure that I write down is the things that I'm grateful for, because we get stuck in this idea that the world hates us.
Yeah.
And if we're not grateful for the things we have, then I think we don't realize how much people around the world don't have, and how many people are in a worse situation than we are. So being grateful, if you do one thing out of this whole session, just write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for, and I promise you the world around you is going to change.
Yeah, it's a bit of a message for me this morning. I was listening to Francesca's Facebook Live thing, and she's been at Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, and she had a whole 7 or 8 minutes on that was her biggest takeaway from yesterday, and how she needs to come back to that as well. And obviously, you've just mentioned it today, so I need to. I used to do gratitude every single day, and I actually did 10 things, and I was very consistent for many, many months. So I think I'll add it to my list after I've done my blog. Back to it again. Cool.
Yes.
All right. Last thing is, as we got a few minutes, and I've got a few other things to share with our listeners as our standard call wrap up. But what's one tool that you use in your business, whether it's an app or even something, could be something tangible that you use that that you just absolutely love, that we could check out and you could share with us?
Well, 2 things came to mind immediately. One is something called Sleep Cycle, which I use on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And because I wake up at 4:30 every morning, there are times that if I just set a normal alarm, then it'll wake me up halfway through my sleep cycle. So if I use Sleep Cycle, so it actually wakes me up at the end of my sleep cycle, the start of a new one. So I'm not waking up groggy.
Wow.
It's a free app. It used to be free. I don't know whether they've started to charge for it, but it's called Sleep Cycle. It's a yellow sort of app, and you switch it on. Just put it on your bed, and it'll on your phone, and it'll judge what your sleep cycle is.
Wow, I'm gonna try that.
Yes, it's really, really good. It's so worth it as well if they do charge for it. I don't remember. And the second thing that I use these days that makes my life a whole bunch easier is Trello. And my team, my customers, and our partners all sort of use Trello to make sure that the project is going according to plan, with tasks and stuff like that. And it's got some great integrations with Zapier and all, everything else, all the other tech stuff that we have on our computer. So Trello is my choice. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Fantastic. I think that's been tons of value. I'm sorry we're running out of time to answer any more questions. There's been just a few comments to say thank you. Awesome value from Colin. Great stuff. We've had quite a big turnout for today's call, which is fantastic, Ronsley, because sometimes people catch the recordings, but we've had quite a lot of people come on live, so it's great. Trish is saying that she enjoyed the session as well. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being our guest today and bringing these things. And definitely for me, I think the biggest takeaway was the sleep cycle thing. I want to try that, and I'm going to. I might even take these notes, and when I post your video up later in the group. So, guys, if you missed it or came on late, I will post this up straight away on YouTube and then share it. And by all means, if you want to share it, Ronsley, do that as well once you see me tag you in it. But thank you again, and I hope to see you face to face next time.
I would love that. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for coming on live. This is really cool.
Cool. See you, Ronsley. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, guys. So we just have a few minutes to wrap this up with our standard things that I'd like to announce, so you guys are aware of it in case you also have never been to a call like this before. But I just wanted to make you aware of our Ultimate Business Support membership, which has become live this year, and it gives you access to all of the monthly events that run in Melbourne, Adelaide, and Sydney. So this is a membership that is just an investment of $247, and it gives you access to all the live events, as well as you can bring a unique buddy every month to that live event. We have a secret members group where we do monthly marketing webinars, and it gives you an access to a 2-day masterclass training that I deliver 3 times a year here in Melbourne. So the UBS, the Ultimate Brain Accelerator Masterclass 2-day event attendance. So over $6,000 of value for just $247. So you don't even necessarily, if you can't go to the city events, you can become a member and get access to that, which is amazing. But on that note, with the city events, we have got some, let me just post up some of these links in our chat box here on GoToWebinar. We've got Sydney that's coming up on the 10th of May with Samantha Chambers. So let me just give you that link there. We've got Adelaide, which is coming up on the 17th of May with Colin, who's been on the call today. So I'll give you the link to that as well in the chat box. And Melbourne is back at the Hawthorn Library on the 26th of May. We had Con the other day from Icon Images, and we are going to have Charlie Barlow, who's my Facebook ads guy. I've been working with him for 2 years, so he's super amazing. I'm sorry I don't have a link for May, but it will be out on the UBS group any day now. So do make it out. They're amazing evenings. I'm always walking away with insights and little tips just like today. And it's a wonderful way to take our networking from online, offline, where it is, 5 times more powerful, if you like. And last of all, coming up are our hot seat days that I host at my home. So you can see a picture there of me having someone in the hot seat. I run these, we've scheduled 3. We just finished the April one, which was super amazing. It was the first time I had run one like this, and I have to say it blew my mind. So we've got 2 more dates coming up on the 14th of June and 26th of July. That you can see that there's 4 spots left in June and 6 in July. The investment is $597, includes the food and all of that. And really, it's about coming up with the next 90-day blueprint for your business and focused actions that you need to do to take your business to the next level. So if you're interested in coming along to those, then you need to just private message me and we'll get you organized to come along and hang out at our home in the power of the mastermind and have your own hot seat segment happening. All right, so what I thought I'd finish off the call on is this particular sales statistic. It's not a quote, if you like. It's a statement to a realization, if you like, that 48% of salespeople. Oh, someone's trying to ring me in the middle of Facebook Live. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. My goodness. 25% make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of sales are made on the first contact and so on. Like you can see the increasing percentages. that 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Oh my goodness. So what does this tell you? Well, Ronsley was talking about content marketing. With content marketing, you are making unique contacts with your potential customers. So if you're going to record videos, do podcasts, write blogs, be present on social media, that is where you will get the people to like you, trust you, and know you, and therefore convert into a sale, which is what happens when you put out there value without any expectation of anything in return, and one day you get the message, or someone turns up to an event and says, I'm ready to buy from you. But most likely, and what's happened to me in my life, when I really delve deeper as to how people have found out about me, they go, oh, I've been on this webinar, I've been reading your blog, I've been, and someone actually told me a statistic the other day. It was Con at the UBS Melbourne event. He said to me, Nat, it takes eight hours of content consumption by your potential clients of you before they're ready to buy from you. He gave the statistics of 4, 11, and 4, 8, and 11, something like that. But I know it was somewhere between 8 and 11 hours. So just think, are you putting out at least 11 hours of content that people could be consuming? And the thing is, you should be putting out even more than that, because yes, it takes time to create, but ultimately this is where those big sales, those conversations become a lot easier in the sales process. So I know we've gone over time a little bit, and thank you for sticking around if you have. I hope this has been valuable. You had a few insights. Next week, it's not going to be at the usual time because I'm going to be flying back from Newcastle. I'm going to someone else's retreat, and she's coming to mine the week after. So I'm thinking it's going to most likely be on the Tuesday, the 10th. And it might just be me. We might go back to old school, just with me, because I had a guest scheduled, but it just didn't work the date for him. But I'll see if he can do the Tuesday. If not, you'll have me, and I'll deliver some insights from what happened at that last retreat. What I had learned, and maybe even I might even ask the person I'm doing the retreat with if she can be our guest. That actually is an amazing idea. All right, I might sort that out for you guys, and talk to you soon. All right, have a wonderful day, and catch you on the next coffee chat. Bye.